What is the most annoying thing a guest has done in your home? My late partner was very sick with leukemia. After over a year of being his 24/7 caregiver, I got the opportunity to go abroad for a work trip. My partner insisted I go because I deserved a break from caregiving and that his deadbeat brother would fill in as caregiver while I was gone. While his brother was staying within our home, he brought his cat, which is a no-no for someone who living with zero immune system, did the absolute minimum to take care of my partner, and left him basically to figure out med/food on his own. And the final blow was he stole the big piggy bank that we were using to save for his bucket list vacation before he died. Then denied he did it. It makes my blood boil thinking about it. A kid whose parents didn't supervise him. He was probably 8 or 9 at the time and would get into anything, especially stuff computer related. He would dig through drawers and open boxes looking for gadgets to play with, only to duck them up or lose something. We finally told the parents they couldn't bring him back when he got into the kitchen and turned on the glass top stove while a pizza box was on it. Started a small, quickly extinguished fire and the house smelled like smoke for about a week. My parents would invite a family over with a boy who was a jerk like that, got into everything, and always destroyed my stuff. Once he even stole a pumpkin from the neighbor's garden and threw it at me. That melon proceeded to slam into my nuts. My uncle once reorganized my entire kitchen. It wouldn't have been horrible. Aggravating, yes, but not horrible, except that he moved the fire extinguisher and didn't tell anyone. So when I accidentally started a small grease fire, I couldn't find the extinguisher, and that's how I burned my hands, destroyed my stove, and nearly burned my kitchen down. All because he just had to rearrange my ducking kitchen. My mother-in-law does this every time she comes to visit, and it pissed me off to no end. I have a small cupboard just next to the hob which I use for salt, spices and sauces. That way I can just grab them while I'm cooking. After she visits, I'll open the cupboard, only to be assaulted by straws or napkins. I was at work all day and I always close my door before leaving. Always. My mum had guests over and decided, hey, let's show the guests everyone's rooms and all the rooms in the house in general. Well, one lady, whom I had never met, didn't like how I arranged my room. So while everyone was at dinner, I work from 11:30 am to about 9 pm, 6 days a week. So I wasn't there when this happened. She went into my room and rearranged my desk, the clothes in my drawers and closet, all my pictures, and threw out some knickknacks that were given to me by old friends but she thought were "trash" I hadn't thrown out yet. I was pissed. She totally admitted it, but didn't seem to feel bad at all. My mum was upset too, but not as much as me. They are no longer friends, but I'm not sure why. Probably cause she threw out some of my mum's knickknacks as well. Edit. Hello all. I'm surprised that this comment of my unfortunate loss of knickknacks and a woman I had never met before was my highest upvoted and most commented, so I thank all. Anyways, unfortunately I did not get or find my lovely knickknacks as she decided not to tell me or anyone where she trashed them, since she thought they were not of value, although I felt I looked everywhere. It took me a good 30 minutes to an hour to fully realize my room had been rearranged. At first I was confused tbh, I'll let it sink in, and what just really pissed me off the most was my knickknacks being gone forever. My mum was the one who calmly told her to leave as I'm not one to be confrontational, although I kept begging her to tell me where my knickknacks were and everyone knew I was angry. But when I'm angry I cry, so everyone thought I was sad. It's been a couple years, and I'm still very bitter about it. My dad collects fossils and found the lower half of a human jaw. He called the police when he found it, but they told him it was quite old and couldn't do anything with it. In the end he was allowed to keep it, and the jawbone is on display in his poker room. My mother's cousin stayed with them for a visit, picked it up by each end, and pressed them inward exclaiming, "Oh, is this real?" The piece snapped in half. Dad quietly removed the bits from my cousin's hands and left the room. He put it together with some scotch tape. He should just replace it with the cousin's jaw. My aunt took a crap in the bathroom, a given, considering we were having a BBQ. But instead of throwing the used tissue in the toilet or even the bin, she put it inside the bathtub. I told my mom, who put her on blast in front of the whole fam, she doesn't come to the cookouts anymore. That doesn't sound normal. Does she perhaps have dementia or a mental illness of some sort? A far from bipolar disorder, not that I'm aware of. She claimed to have not seen to trash can and thought we had septic. We did not, so she was trying to save us from a clog, but I have no idea what went through her mind. My mother's side of the family can be very inconsiderate. When my sister was getting married some years ago, they stayed with us for the weekend. I knew I had to surrender my room to accommodate them, so I cleaned it, washed my sheets and towels, etc. for them. One day that weekend I came home and went into my room. They were only sleeping in the room. Otherwise I was still very much using it during the day and found all of their very wet, musty, smelly towels bundled into a heap on my bed. I cleaned it up and came back an hour later to find that my cousin stripped the duvet off of the bed and placed it on the floor and put her toddler son to sleep on it on the floor. My aunt used my macup without asking. While I was present, they, aunts and cousins, all rifled through my closet and vanity and used/wore whatever they pleased. The night of one of the events, while I was doing my hair, I put the blow dryer down temporarily and my cousin gave it to her son because he was asking to play with it. He refused to give it back to me and my cousin told me I need to let him plead with it. They constantly asked me to do things for them and help them get dressed, which made me late and I missed the photographer, so I have no pics with my sister that night. I was devastated because she and all my other siblings got some wonderful shots that I missed out on. They insulted every outfit I wore, and if they liked it, it was only because one of them had one just like that but nicer. Throughout the weekend, I saw one of them pick my water bottle and drink from it. I walked into my room to find my cousin's husband shirtless and very greasy, passed out on my bed. He hadn't spent the night, so he didn't need to be on the bed, but even still, at least shower before you get on someone's bed. And the icing on the cake, my other sister also had to give up her room. One day she found a strange stain on her sheet. Turns out my cousin changed her son's diaper on her bed without spreading a changing pad and his crap got on her bed. When my cousin was my roommate, her trashy sad redneck boyfriend would come over and use all of my pots and pans and then leave them for me to clean up after him. One night I got so pissed I dumped the entire sink full of their mess onto her bed and covered it with a blanket. Never again. That reminds me of the time I found my housemate's moldy coffee cup behind the sofa. I just trapped it and left it in his room. He wasn't happy. My freshman roommate had a moldy coffee mug sitting on our shared desk for weeks. Also, I brought a mini fridge with me since we lived a dorm. She would always leave her empty pizza boxes in the fridge stinking it up. She would never clean her crap up. Disgusting. Decorated the Christmas tree. A bit of backstory. In my family, the Christmas tree isn't just some pretty thing to look at. It's a relic of family history. Every ornament was a gift from a family member or friend. Some of them were generations old. Decorating the tree was something we all did together, and we'd put the ornaments we'd been gifted on the tree. I wanted to pass that on to my daughter. That each ornament was special and meant something. Then, along came my late father-in-law's girlfriend. She was a self-proclaimed authority on everything. From how to properly cook carrots up to how to decorate a Christmas tree. Knowing how she was, I made it clear that we were going to hang the ornaments together after we got back from some last-minute shopping. We got back, and she'd decorated the tree herself. She stood proudly in front of it, waiting for us to tell her how beautiful it was. Bish simply didn't listen. A chick I had met online years prior asked to stay. She is from the US, I'm in Aus. She didn't shower the whole time and literally stank up my house, made a mad mess, ate everything. Then when she was leaving, I was baking a cake for someone at work's b-day. She said goodbye and left to go to another chick's house. I discovered later that day she had taken the cake with her. The next house she went to, she didn't shower either. We all met on the same website, and the next victim of her stank was now living in Aus from California, and we regularly hand out still. She ate all their food too, stank twice as bad as a heat wave occurred, and then drank all the alcohol from their house, replacing it with water and tea. They didn't discover this until weeks after she left, as they weren't big drinkers. Wasn't home when this happened, but some family friend I've never met, and their kid comes over one afternoon. Kid gets bored and decided it's a great idea to disassemble every Lego build I've kept over the last 10 years. Almost everything was built from imagination, so no instructions to rebuild again. I was devastated when I got home seeing Lego pieces spread across the entire floor of my room. Kill. Ate my go-gurts I had in the fridge for bad days while I was recovering from a major spinal surgery. Encouraged the other guests to join in. Hogged the sofa which I needed to sleep on since my back couldn't handle the floor. Again, still very much in recovery from a major surgery. Refused to give up spot on said sofa. Acted offended when I left the room to sleep on another sofa. Didn't flush the toilet. Almost broke my laptop doing something I told her not to do because it could break my laptop. No matter how much you've missed your friends while spending over a month in recovery, do not invite them over for a sleepover when you're still in a lot of pain. Also just don't invite jerks visiting me. The nerve.